Hey, this is School Trains in Montreal, and I'm doing a small video here on my little N scale test layout. And I want to show a couple new locomotives and a couple new cars and a couple new things that I've bought in the last little while. First thing I wanted to show was these models. These are the buildings DPM kits, and I might have shown them before, but I want to really emphasize that a lot of modelers seem to be very hesitant to paint them. Really all you need is the micro brushes, and you can get those from any kind of model retailer, and they're very small fine paintbrushes, and if you follow the contours of these buildings you can get these fine details that I've done here. It's not really too hard because you can get in there with a little bit of paint on the brush and just follow the lines of the building because it's all molded in there. That building there with the hump or whatever, that peak, that Victorian type building was probably my first chance at trying to do this. And yeah, sure, at first you make a lot of mistakes and whatever, but you just go over your mistakes and eventually you'll get the amount of paint right, and it'll follow the lines nicely and you'll get a really nice result. So guys, if you have these buildings, give it a shot painting them, because yeah, they really pop when you paint them like this. These are Victorian style and Edwardian style buildings. They need to have some color in them. And I'll show this one too. They can be kitbashed very easily too. This one is just 2 DPM buildings. I sawed it, the bottom part off, and sanded it down, and filled any little gaps with the thick glue. Tester's thick glue will do it, and you can paint over it nicely, and it hides all the little mistakes that you do. And yeah, the results are very much worth it. So you can get a building. I was almost ready to make a building that's 3 times as high because I had 3 kits, and I thought it would be a little bit too much. So I limited myself to the 2 kits. And it makes a nice 7-story building, and you don't see a lot of this. And this is the kind of thing that makes your model railroad interesting, rather than have the same buildings and unpainted and whatever. Anyways, here's another thing that I have is this truck, this mid-states truck. These trucks are the metal classic metalworks trucks, and I bought a whole lot of them at the hobby store that was going out of business, Udisco, and I got them all for half price. So I'll show in a future video all the trucks that I got from that. And these trucks are kind of out of the date period that I'm doing, like maybe the 80s to the 2000s, but they still represent an interesting truck that you would see locally, local kind of trucks. Anyways, they're very interesting. On over here I have another one. It's a Cooper whatever. I have a whole bunch of these Cooper trucks. I just really like the colors on them, the orange and the dark blue or whatever that is, dark navy blue, black, really cool. Yep. So these are LRC cars. Now these are really great cars. I mean, I had some problems like getting them on the track to begin with. But they are really hard to put on the track, or at least they are for me. But once you get them on the track, and you can get them coupled fairly easily, it's a kind of a learning curve. But anyways, I got them coupled, got them working. The lights are working. I have a video for that. And here are my Ontario Northland locomotives. So this is a GP38 and a GP40 teamed up. This is the GP40, I think. Yeah, that's the GP40, and behind it is the GP38. I don't have a lot of Ontario Northlands freight rolling stock, so this is probably like my sole freight car, or maybe 1 or 2 freight cars of Ontario Northlands. But just to show you how cool this is, these 2 locomotives have some great slow speed. They work really well in tandem. They're both Atlas locomotives. I can't remember when they came out. I got them maybe last year. They look great. They run great. And I really like that paint scheme, that Ontario Northlands paint scheme. And behind it here, these are Ahern models. These are ST75Is that came out, I think, in 2006. They're really cool as well. They run really amazing, like most Ahern models run pretty well. I cannot complain about that. And they look amazing. And I have 4 of these. I have 2 Canadian National ones, and I have these 2 Ontario Northlands ones. And the Ontario Northlands, the real railroad, has only about 6 of these. And they have, in subsequent years, changed the paint scheme of Ontario Northlands to not be this really cool kind of yellow and the blue leaning stripe there, 45-degree stripe, which I think on rail and the 45-degree stripe was probably the best paint scheme they had. Just made the best use of the colors, was the biggest splash of their colors. They have a similar scheme now, but it's not as nice. I thought this was the nicest scheme they had. They also had the old chevron scheme, which is nice, and an even older one they have is the green and yellow kind of stripy thing that they have an old SD40-2 repainted in like a heritage unit. That actually is kind of nice too, but to me, Ontario Northlands had this paint scheme in the early 80s, in the early 2000s, and it was probably the best paint scheme they had. Yeah. So I'll keep this one short, and I'll probably do another video of the Ontario Northlands here of running those Ahern locomotives, just to show you how cool those are. So if you like what I'm doing, please subscribe to Cool Trains in Montreal. Have a good day.